apologies in advance to the NSW family if I get this wrong. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at the live tab on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Belmore Sports Ground is a beautiful site, the perfect setting for round 3 of the National Premier League's New South Wales men's competition. 2025's already seen its fair share of exciting games, and we're hoping for another one here in Belmore between two of the most historic names in Australian football. It is Sydney Olympic up against Wollongong Wolves. Olympic in their famous blue and white, Wollongong in their famous red. It's a great kit contrast, and we're hoping for a great contest here as we continue with the third round of the men's top-tier competition in Football New South Wales. Eric Subihano here in the grandstand. A great position alongside Tin, our camera operator from our broadcast partners at Sportsnet. I've really been looking forward to this one for Sydney Olympic. A chance to bounce back as they are at home for the third time in the opening 3 rounds. Last time out, they had a narrow loss, 1-0. Here to Western Sydney Wanderers, while for the Wolves, they eventually defeated St George City by 3-0. You may have heard of the lightning delay that meant this game was started last Friday night, but actually had to be completed on, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday night. But 2 long trips for our friend Nicholas Kutniak to make sure that game was completed. And as I said, the Wolves eventually winning by 3-0. So we've seen the 2 captains, Adam Parkhouse for Olympic and Lachlan Scott for Wollongong. 2 players with A-League experience, by the way. They've completed the pre-match coin toss. Let's go through the 2 starting lineups. Firstly, for the hosts, Sydney Olympic. In goal, number 1, Jack Gibson. Then number 3, Connor O'Toole. Number 5, Ziggy Gordon. Number 8, Sam McElhatton. Number 9, Cyrus Demi. Number 10, Jack Armson. Number 11, Adam Parkhouse. Number 12, Zach Zodicic. Number 14, Seth Clark. Number 18, Teng Kuol. And number 28, Donny Girich. While for Wollongong, goalkeeper, number 1, Oliver Yates. Then number 2, Harrison Busnell. Number 4, Dylan Ryan. Number 5, Banri Kanaizumi. Number 7, Woon Sub Sim. Number 11, Sebastian Hernandez. Number 17, Marcus Beattie. Number 21, Nicholas Olsen. Number 24, Lachlan Scott. Number 29, Ben Geisen. And number 77, Raphael Leai. So there we go. I'll go through the 2 sets of substitutes, maybe at an appropriate break in play. But as we see the match officials are about to get underway, in the center with the whistle is Eric Saba. There's the whistle. Away we go. Assistant nearest to us, Lachlan Hines. Assistant on the hillside of Belmore Sports Ground is Hayden Kay. And today's 4th official, Daniel Kornovsky. So it's the Wolves on the move as they run towards the train tracks end. I don't know if they have official names, but the train tracks end of Belmore Sports Ground. While Olympic will instead be going left to right as we see things here in the grandstand. And for the Wolves, it's been a good start, a win and a draw. As in their opening 2 games, while polar opposites in terms of results for Olympic over the first 2 rounds. Opening day success, followed by that aforementioned 1-0 loss to the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy. As is Busnell, and he's done well to keep it away from Demi and also from Parkhouse before he's put it into touch. So on the Olympic bench, Monty Partington is the backup goalkeeper. The others, Bailey Callahan, Joshua Hong, Gianni DiPizio, Dylan Ruiz-Diaz, and Jackson Fowler. Olympic are coached by Alabino Halidi, while for Wollongong, there's only 5 named on their bench, as Parkhouse puts the low ball into the middle, but he was offside. The flag is up. So on Wollongong's bench, Daniel Solsky's the backup keeper. The other options, James Ananostopoulos, Damon Gray, Dax Kelly, and Alex Masciavecchio. Wollongong are coached by Warren Grieve. Lots of experience in the Football New South Wales space. Warren Grieve has coaching. I think most notably, he was the coach at Manly United when they won the 2017 NPL Men's New South Wales Championship. The longer time fans will remember that thrilling grand final at Leichhardt Oval. It's almost an away game for them, but an away victory for the Kings of the Northern Beaches, because they defeated RPL Leichhardt at Leichhardt Oval in a championship game. Wow, that's getting on 8 years ago. Can you believe that? If memory serves me correctly, a heroic performance from Manly keeper Dylan Mitchell in that game. Many, many saves in the 120 minutes and a couple in the shootout as well. We've had plenty of action already in this round 3 of NPL Men's New South Wales for 2025. 3 games last night. And I'll hold that thought as Parkhouse. He should be onside for this one. He's got 2 teammates waiting in the middle. Parkhouse will deliver. Away by Kanaizumi. And it's actually hit the ref. And yes, the decision is Eric Saba ruling in favour of Wollongong. As the ball struck him, and I think it was going to actually, and it would have been a quite clever headed pass from Sim to a teammate. So Saba has decided that Wollongong will have an uncontested drop ball to restart. Back last night. It was Sutherland continuing their excellent start to the season with a 1-0 win away to Wanderers Academy. It was Daniel Wong with an early goal to settle things there. There's a 0-0 draw at the Northern Beaches. Manly holding the boys from Odense Park scoreless up there. And as that will go off Demi, I think, for a Wollongong throw. The other Friday night game was a thriller. A thriller called by the People's Champion Nicholas Kutniak at Barton Park. A game which both teams had the lead at some point, but it was eventually Mount Druitt Town Rangers winning by 3-2 at Barton Park. And 2 teams, of course, they were contesting the, what's the easiest way to put this? The promotion relegation playoff over 2 legs between NPL New South Wales and Football New South Wales League 1 in 2023. St George prevailed by the odd goal over 2 legs then, but Mount Druitt getting some measure of revenge for that playoff defeat. And I think the great media crew at Football New South Wales have clipped up a couple of goals for the Mount Druitt goals already, as that's played back. And then Gidic out left before that's stopped by Abusnell. Now Gidic again. Across to Ziggy Gordon. A little bit of a curveball in the dribble up. He's listed as Ian Gordon. Luckily, as a long-time reader of football or Wikipedia page, I knew it's easy to just call him Ziggy. But that's a nice ball by Gordon behind Demi, and then an early handball shot, which is not paid by Eric Saba. Away we go. But that was a nice cross from Zach Zoricic. And now Olympic choosing the right again with Seth Clark. Whips it in. Parkhouse may be the closest. Stooping header. Now Parkhouse has a chance here. He wants a handball. It's a one-man handball shout. Instead, it is Marcus Beattie who will come away with possession. Marcus Beattie. The first time I saw Marcus Beattie back when I was the NPL 2 New South Wales reporter. Before that league got renamed as League 1 Football New South Wales League 1. But seeing Marcus Beattie be a very fine contributor on the wing for a St George FC team that at the time was battling relegation. It was a successful relegation battle for the Saints. Marcus Beattie scored some very key goals late on in that 2019 campaign to help secure salvation for the Saints. That's a nice ball. They're targeting Parkhouse again, and he's got options to Clark, but the flag's up. The flag's up, so very short-lived joy for the home faithful. And Lachlan Hines has caught the Olympic captain offside. And so Seth Clark's lovely finish. Nice run to the near post. So that'll at least be some measure of positivity for Olympic. But Parkhouse was offside, and Clark, well, that's what you want. That's what you teach wingers. When the ball's on the other end, you get into the middle to make yourself an option. That's what Seth Clark did. And maybe next time his next run will pay dividends. So that's possibly one to keep an eye on. That battle is on the far side, at least in the first half, as we see things, between Parkhouse and Beattie. But Beattie, he's pretty good at going forward, so Parkhouse, he won't have it all his own way, I bet. Now Clark again. And that's Armson to Kuol. Clark. And Kuol is fouled. He's fouled by Guyson. We'll have a shout-out. Early shout-out to long-time Wollongong Wolves ground announcer Dorso, who's saved me from embarrassment by, just before we were going live, telling me the correct pronunciation of Guyson. Trust me, I was about to get that wrong. Thanks, Dorso. Now, so I'll embarrass myself in some other way today, presumably. And as we wait for this Olympic free kick, those of you who are tuning in, hope you're settled in for a great day of football, great day of NPL Men's New South Wales action. There's games after this one. But first, the set piece. And over everyone. It's unusual from Jack Armson to overcook things with his passing, but it ends up as a Wollongong goal kick. Yes, if you if you're the kind of person who loves watching multiple Football New South Wales competition games in a day, well, of course you've got to stay tuned, because after this one it's the match of the round, and this is the easiest match of the round selection I think there will be this season, because at 7 p.m. from the Illingdon Sports Centre, it's a rematch of last year's grand final between Rockdale Illingdon and Marconi Stallions, and I'm loving our choice for match of the round commentator Alex Molchanov. But first, this Wolves attack and the shot which goes wide. Jack Gibson looking unbothered. Goal kick. But yes, Alex Molchanov, who's called, I think he called the opening day match of the round. Yes, it was William Constantinidis who called last week's match of the round, but two fine choices, two of our best commentators. And if I'm being honest, I reckon those two should be A-League commentators, but I don't make these decisions. I'm glad to have them in our team, the Football New South Wales commentary team. And as says the assistant nearest to us takes a tumble. But he's back on his feet and will go on, because Teng Kuol, as someone's lost a shin pad, Kuol delivers the low cross towards Demi. And it might break for Armson. It does. And that's a great save from Yates. What a save. Because the technique from Armson with the volley was spot on. He kept it low. Didn't try to swing too hard. Just made sure he got the technique right. He's drawn a fine save from the Wollongong Wolves shot stopper. That's an early highlight for the home side, as there is a shin pad on the near touchline. I think that's a shin pad. We will wait and see whose that is. But there's no breaks in play for now, so someone out there has an uncovered shin for now. And then if you like to multi-screen, of course there's, as I said, starting at 7 p.m, so pretty much straight after this one finishes Rockdale versus Marconi with pretty boy Alexander Molchanov on the call. And by the way, Brett Nielsen is the photographer assigned for that game at the Illingdon Sports Centre, so look forward to more high-quality photographs from Brett Nielsen. Does some great work, and he does take up a pitch side position, so the more enterprising players that score at whatever end Brett stations himself, or wherever he stations himself, will run straight to Brett Nielsen for their celebrations. I think we saw Sydney FC do something similar the last weekend's game played at the Illingdon Sports Centre, because, it's all about those Instagram photos. You've got to do what you can to make them as good as possible. As that's a nice switch, which Zodicic lunges at. We've got the first corner of the game going the way of the visitors, and he's prevented Nick Olsen from getting on the end of what was a very nice diagonal ball. Olsen instead will take this corner kick. By the way, near to that, well done. We love travelling fans. There's 4 fans in unmistakable Wolves gear. It's a long old trip, but it's good weather for such a trip, and we're glad to see that they're here to support their side. As Olsen with the outswinger, and it's over everyone. Around the back, it'll be Leai. And Leai, I think, is just going to go back to Beatty, so the Wolves can start again. The big lads are still forward. And BT towards Scott, the knockdown, cleared. Sim tries to keep it alive, but now possible chance for an Olympic counter, and Lachlan Scott, tell you what, he's quite an experienced campaigner, Lachlan Scott. But tell you what, as far as conceding free kicks go, given that they weren't set, not the worst outcome for Wollongong. Now they're all back in defence as we go underway with O'Toole. Nice turn on the far side. And then BT will shield it and keep it away from Demi. Oh, I missed whose shin pad that was. They picked it up now. Well, everyone's got the proper equipment according to the laws of the game, at least. Now there's room to turn for Guyson. And then there's overhit Leai there. But it's actually a pretty decent breeze blowing through Belmore. I was worried because it's quite a warm day out there, but plenty of shade here in this wonderful grandstand. And the breeze is quite nice, so I think it'll be okay playing conditions for both this game and the under-20s game, which is scheduled to take place between Olympic and Wollongong straight after this one. By the way, if you're the multi-screening type after this one, well, you can watch 2 games at once, because there's a 7:15 p.m. kickoff at Penshurst Park between St George City and Sydney FC. And long-time Football New South Wales reporter Justin Davies will be in position as Demi hits the grass. And we'll go on. Now Yates with the left footer, the wind might be affecting that, but as it swings out of play. And yes, when the ball's in this part of the field, we'll do my best, but there's a lot more markings than I'm used to seeing on a football field. This is, of course, a shared venue with the Bulldogs, the rugby league team, so they might have been marking extra things as part of some training exercise. Or it could be someone else entirely, but here's the interception from Parkhouse. And long-range shot, which Yates watches go wide. Yes, looking at all these extra markings, I mean, sometimes you might hear that a game, you might refer to the tactical battle in football as a game of chess. Well, this part of the field they're in now has more squares than a chessboard. And we'll do our best. And credit to Dorso for giving me the idea for that joke. Thanks. Really appreciate it. I was always open to ideas for in commentary jokes. Sim to Olsen, back to Sim. Centre circle. Now Kanaizumi. And he'll put one over the top for Leai to chase. But instead it's Gordon who had a look over the shoulder just to see if Gibson was coming. He wasn't. So Gordon's dealt with that. And Kanaizumi, well, that's a challenge that is subtle as some of my jokes. That's one of the easier decisions Eric Saba will have to make. Olympic keep the pace high. Nice switch to Parkhouse. He's one-on-one with Beattie. So he holds down R2 then. Holds down circle as well. Or square, depending on what controls you use when you play EA Sports FC. But whatever, it's a corner to Sydney Olympic. By the way, shout out to supporters of the Football New South Wales YouTube streams, Lockie and Megan. They're tuning in, and I know because I've already been roasted twice in my DMs, and we've had 15 minutes to play here. So things are going as they usually go for me. 0-0 between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong Wolves at Belmore Sports Ground. Thanks to the rest of you who are tuning in and haven't roasted me yet. As it's O'Toole. And that's intercepted by Sim. So, Olsen waited for the run of Guyson. Now Scott, he was back in. Lachlan Scott, very good in the air, so he would have been back to defend that set piece for the Wolves. So that's why he wasn't in his usual centre forward position, but he's getting there now. And there's a decent bit of grass in front of Dylan Ryan. Now, the run to the byline. And a low cutback, it deflects off Gordon for a Wolves corner. Now it's Hernandez with the trickery to get past his player and win Wolves' second corner of the afternoon. So, not sure which photographer that is. Was it Andrew Vezos? Is it John Carusi? We'll find out later, I suppose. But whoever that photographer is, they're in great position for anything on that corner of the field. Hernandez is a short option, but Olsen will go direct. And Olympic let it bounce. Now Leai plays it back into the middle. It's more up than forward. Then there's the volley from Hernandez, and that's an easy catch for Gibson. Yeah, going back to last night's game at Barton Park, where Mount Druitt defeated St George FC by 3-2. Yeah, as I said, well, I mean, Olympic, a club with, of course, with Greek heritage, so I mean, it's only fitting to give a shout out to the Football New South Wales media manager. Some people call him the Greek god of Football New South Wales, Mark Stavroulakis, for the continuing great work he does with the socials for the NPL competitions, men's and women's, and also the Football New South Wales leagues. As we got weekly streams of League One men's and the weekly streams of League One women's. That competition is starting next weekend. But yes, Mark Stavroulakis is continuing to do a great job. There's two of Mount Druitt's goals clipped up for socials. I saw that on my timeline, including as that's played over the top and the flag's up against Demi, including one of Mount Druitt goals. It was un golazo de Pedrinho. It was a great goal by Pedrinho, Mount Druitt's new star signing, and you can see why there's been quite a fuss made of him. Actually, is he Brazilian or Portuguese? Oh, that might be the embarrassing moment. I'll have to check that, but whatever. I might check that at halftime, but it was a great goal. That made it 2-2 at the time, and then the winner from John Azar wasn't bad either. Actually, I feel like I've done something terrible here. I'm going to try and check this and multitask while the game's in progress. As there's the header from Ryan, looking for Leai, up and away from Gordon. Now, quick feed. I think that's Armson, and he's got room on the right flank. Now Armson waits to deliver, to kind of underhit it compared to what he was aiming for. And now all the Wolves back in position. Oh, well, of course, you know what my memory is like. I forgot what I said a minute ago, but if I said he was Brazilian, then I was right. Oof. I better make sure of that next time. Get that wrong, and I won't be allowed in Mount Druitt's new media box, or as we like to call it here at Football New South Wales, the Nicholas Kutniak media box. Story goes that he has, shall we say, strongly requested over the years for Mount Druitt to build a proper media box for a proper filming position. Well, they finally have one. And built, really, the timing of it is fantastic, as we hold that thought, because there's a Wolves attack going on with Hernandez. Tries to link with Scott, and it's Parkhouse with some very good defending, but yes. For a long time, we didn't have much elevation when we filmed, or we broadcasted at Popondetta Park, and yeah, you also not much cover from the conditions, but now there's a proper box. You can use it to film action from both the field number 1, the grass field, and the synthetic field number 2 at Popondetta. And thank you. Thank you to Nicholas Kutniak for your persistence in making this possible. And thanks to Mount Druitt for listening to Nicholas. Now it's cleared by Zodicic, and you know what? That's a decent first touch from that ball kid. If it was my first touch, we would have ended up back on the field for sure. Now, the one-touch pass, and now it's Olsen who wants it on his left foot. That's an unfortunate one. We've all been there. Now, Olympic with McElhatton thinking about it. And, there's, again, Demi. Possibly not pleased with the attention he's been given, but Olympic go on with O'Toole. Clark finds Parkhouse, but there's decent numbers back. Plenty of red shirts back for Wollongong. So past the 20-minute mark. It's good to see. That's a very nice scoreboard here that we have at Belmore Sports Ground. As Wollongong continue to stand off. It's Kuol dropping deeper, but he can't find a teammate. Here's Olsen. Here's the shout. Returns the ball. 2 players in the middle. It's a decent ball towards Scott. Lachlan Scott. How's he done it? Oh, it's a great save from Gibson, because Lachlan Scott, the ball was a bit behind him. He brought it down anyway. Here's Leai. He will settle for the corner. So Olsen, once again, he'll have an opportunity to swing one in from the flag. Wollongong, a tall side. Kanaizumi over the years, he's been one of the best set-piece scoring threats in the league. Busnell, he's a big lad, so is Dylan Ryan. It's clearly something Wollongong have worked on, because they're kind of huddling together before making their runs. Here we go to the near post, and last off Wollongong for the goal kick. And of course, now we're in that time of year. The action never stops, and no such thing as too much football. It's so good to have a 30-round competition in NPL Men's New South Wales these days. the rest of round 3. The other 2 games being played tomorrow, or the ones that I haven't mentioned yet. So at 4:45 p.m. at Lambert Park, home of Sydney's best barista. Shout out to you, Joe. It's RPL Leichhardt hosting the team that were top of the table in both men's first grade and men's under 20s coming into this weekend. Northwest Sydney Spirit. What a great job David Perkovich has done over the years. Gradual improvements, I think. How's my counting? It's his 9th year already. It's his 9th year in charge of the men from the Arctic Circle. The year before Perkovich took over at Spirit, they were 12th in the second tier, something like that. And then now, as there's an awkward one for Kanaizumi, he plays it over the sideline. Now Spirit doing well to establish themselves as a top tier side. And that's a game between Arpia and Spirit. By the way, shout out to my good friend Ashley Crofts, Arpia women's captain for this season. She's played for both clubs. As there's some, shall we say, optimistic shouts from the crowd. The players weren't too bothered about that contact there. Wollongong will go on, but yes, tomorrow's men's game between Arpia and Spirit, that'll be called by Teo Pellizzeri. Young Jack George is got a break from UNSW analysis duties. He'll be writing the match report. And Damien Briggs will be providing the photography there. The other game in this competition to be played tomorrow, it's at 5 p.m. at a venue I called that for the first time last week. It's Plume Park in Lisero. Central Coast Mariners, the youngsters in the yellow and navy, hosting Blacktown City. Both teams really needing a result after heavy defeats last weekend. And after my, as the reverse pass, the flag's up immediately against Parkhouse, although the keeper, Yates, would have gotten that anyway. Now Parkhouse feeling a bit sore, so Yates is actually thinking if he plays the ball out, which he does, so Parkhouse can get treatment. So hopefully it's nothing too serious, because Parkhouse has been good in the early stages. But yeah, back. Anyway, tomorrow's game between the Mariners and Blacktown, yes. Well, they don't call him the voice of Central Coast football for no reason. Pete Pryor will be calling from Plume Park, and a match report from Madeline Riley. And it's good to see Madeline doing games that don't involve Marconi again. Now, of course, I did say the breeze blowing through Belmore, but of course it's still hard work out there. This allegedly winter sport, with the league starting in February, so hydration is very important. So it looks like Parkhouse will be okay to continue, but actually, well, no. No, actually, it might not be. No, he will. No, I don't think he will be, because I just see out of the corner of my eye, the assistant was calling for a sub, so yeah, that is unfortunate. An unfortunate early end to the game for Adam Parkhouse. So let's hope he's not out for too long. That's what Olympic didn't want, especially from a player who'd been looking so dangerous in the opening 26 minutes. But Adam Parkhouse will make way. And it's Dylan Ruiz-Diaz to come on. So plenty of people surrounding Parkhouse. It's always tough when you have to leave the field due to injury. But he is being well looked after, we can see that. And this stage looks like a straight swap. Yeah, it looks like Dylan Ruiz-Diaz will be on the left wing where Parkhouse was operating so well in the early stages of the game. Now Beattie can't keep that in play. Cool. takes over in the center circle. He's got a runner, which is Zoricic, out wide, and doesn't hit it strongly enough to get to them. But then that's not what the Wolves would have wanted, as the ball is given straight back. Demi. Clean tackle from Dylan Ryan. But then he is tackled himself. Now, room for McElhatton and Ruiz Diaz to his left. So here's Ruiz Diaz. I think he wants to set up the shot. He does, but Wolves read the intentions. Zoricic trying to keep it alive. He'll have a second go at it. And he kept it in, but it's easy for Yates. So it's across to Kanaizumi. We're near the half-hour mark. 0-0 here between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong Wolves. Thanks for joining us on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Great weather for football. Two historic names in Australian sport. And plenty of talent out there. I think so far the best chance went to Jack Armson of Sydney Olympic. And new signing after he's done so well at RPL Leichhardt, and before that I remember him being excellent at Bonnyrigg White Eagles. But Jack Armson forcing a good save in the early going from the Wollongong keeper, Oliver Yates. Jack Armson, he scored in the first ever game I called for Football New South Wales. It was a rainy night at the Bonnyrigg Sports Club. As Clark with a great ball to Zoricic. He's up from right back. Zoricic fires into the side netting. It's a goal kick. And you'd have to say the positioning was spot on by Yates. He timed his rush out from his line well. As the goalkeeper coaches like to say, he stayed big, stayed on his feet, made Zoricic try to go around him, and the ball goes wide. Now Kanaizumi's got the right spin on the ball to find Ryan, but then Ryan, well, he has found Leai. Nice back heel. Here's Ryan. Ryan, I think he was going for the corner. He'll have to settle for the throw-in. And more action for the Wolves right in front of their travelling support. So let's work back to Olsen. I think that's Busnell. Now it's Beattie. Hernandez operating on the right side. Nice trick. And he plays it in from the byline, but the cross isn't strong enough to beat the first player defending, which that time was Girdich. Long throw. Love seeing a long throw. I was watching the Irish women's national team this morning in their UEFA Women's Nations League B encounter at Tala Stadium against Turkey. If you haven't seen this play already, Google Megan Campbell long throw. It's incredible. Long throw is one of my favorite ways to try and score. As that's a neat 1-2 between Leai. He gets it back from Scott, and then, well, he's running out of room. He plays it straight to Gibson. This goes long, and there's the header from Busnell, helped on by Sim. Now Olsen. Now Girdich beats Scott to the punch. And now Hernandez. That's nice speed there. Gets around O'Toole momentarily. O'Toole's back in position to defend. Here's Scott, edge of the box. Now they'll go back. I think that's Sim. Oh no, Speedy, my bad. This is Kanaizumi. Olympic stayed disciplined, so Wollongong going back to try again, possibly draw Olympic out a little bit. They'll go all the way back to the keeper. And, well, the Eights has played it straight to Demi, but Kanaizumi is there in time. And then Guyerson, well, his crossfield ball doesn't pay off. Busnell stopped, I think, by Ruiz Diaz, and now here's Clark. Nice ball. Here's Cyrus Demi. This could be the chance, and he's played it across the face of goal and out. Seth Clark, he's played some wonderful passes early on. That was another one. It was a very presentable chance for the number 9. But again, I think you have to pay credit to Oliver Yates. He's put, that's twice now, he's rushed off his line and put players off. And the end result was shots going wide. Yates will go long to restart. Kuol only helps it backwards from an Olympic point of view. Here's O'Toole. And O'Toole beats 2 players, but then that's just, he overran it. That's unlucky from O'Toole. Scott, nice touch here. And now he's looking for Olsen. Kuol's back to defend, and then who did he slam that into? Well, it doesn't matter because Olsen will take over. And it's going to be a free kick. That's clever from Olsen. Just it's quick enough to get in front of his marker. And he's drawn the contact and won the free kick, which is a left footer. He will take. Not quite sure what direction the wind is going in. I don't really think it would favour the in-swingers. Who knows? It wouldn't be an Olympico, but it's not far off it. I've seen balls fly in from these kinds of positions before. As Olsen does go to the near post, it's headed away by Ruiz Diaz. And 10 minutes of regulation time left in the first half. Still goalless between Olympic and Wollongong. And now Hernandez. Hernandez looking for Scott. It's going to be a corner. Now that's one Wollongong corner for each Wollongong Wolves fan who's positioned themselves in this grandstand to our left in the front, just by the fence. Now, Hernandez is there as a short option. I suspect it's just to draw 2 players out of the middle. And indeed, Olsen goes direct, and Scott hits the grass, but nothing's happening there. He's back to his feet. And Beattie. And nice ball to Leai. There's the shot, which is blocked by Girdich. Corner number 5 for Wollongong. Well, at least that's by my very unofficial tally. If you've got any kind of app that says differently, yeah, go with that. Please, I struggle to count the goals in the games I call. I don't know why I'm trying to kick corners. Anyway. So, in-swinger from Olsen, headed away at the near post by Demi. And it's Beattie who will return it back to Olsen. Well, he tried to, but Olympic broke it up. And it's a little bit of frustration there, possibly from O'Toole, because he suspected a chance not just to intercept, but to start an attack. Ball still with Wollongong. Half-time fast approaching. Ryan. Ryan plays it into Kuol. Now Geisen. And Sim. Now Beatty. There's Leai. There's Wollongong just continue to probe before Kanaizumi goes a bit longer. Nice knockdown from Ryan. Hernandez back on the left flank. And out of the shadows. Armson sticking to this task. And Geisen going back to Kanaizumi. Wollongong's what you'd like. You'd love this as an away side. Wollongong doing a great job of keeping the ball away from their hosts. Now they just need a chance at the end of it. Pocket of space for Geisen. Looks to clip one over the top, but that's going straight to Gibson. Olympic in possession. Now Ruiz Diaz on the left touchline finds Demi. Demi will run at the defense. Demi tries to get past two players. Can't. Well, he doesn't get all the way through, but the corners are decent rewards. And the famous Olympic chant. You cannot go a Sydney Olympic game without hearing that at least once. And Olympics' second corner this opening half, which I've enjoyed watching. But will there be a goal at the end of it? Ruiz Diaz to take the flag kick. Flat and away by Scott. Seen a fair bit of that forward players doing the defending from corners, and now is Hernandez with the support coming from Olsen centrally. Hernandez taking on Zodicic. Now it's 3-on-1. Hernandez being the one. And ends up as a Wollongong throw-in. By the way, I should probably finish that story at some point. So, to complete that story from about 30 minutes ago, Jack Armson of Sydney Olympic scored in the first ever game I called for Football New South Wales. It was an NPL 2 New South Wales clash between Bonnyrigg White Eagles and Northern Tigers on a wet night at the Bonnyrigg Sports Club. So my first call was on that scary tower at Bonnyrigg, yes. In the rain, yes. And Jack Armson scored. Thankfully, we've got no such weather here today. It's a great day for football. It's just a great day to be out of the house. And Leai, nice little turn before he goes back to Sim. That well, Zoricic, it's all Zoricic, and a very convincing shout of time from Gibson. But Zoricic is happy to let it run for the goal kick. Of course, as said before, and lots of you will know this, Sydney Olympic, very much as the name suggests, a club with Greek origin. So I'm here today. It would be remiss of me to not give a shout out to another Greek legend, because he was a part of our commentary team for many years, and it is his 50th birthday today. Happy 50th birthday to the Adonis, Will Gotsis. No longer part of our commentary team. Well, maybe. He did retire at the end of last year, but who knows? As I like to say, there's a lot more talk of retiring in NPL than there is actual retiring. So would not be surprised if you hear the dulcet tones of the Adonis on the Football New South Wales YouTube page at some point in the future. Kuol plays it forward, and the spin favours Ruiz Diaz. And Ruiz Diaz wins the corner. That's nice work from the man who was an early substitute for the unfortunate Adam Parkhouse. Gordon just checking something with his coach, Labano Halidi, before he heads into the mixer. Sydney Olympic, well, they got everything now except a corner taker. There. Okay. Yep. It's getting a bit worried there with everyone running into the middle. But yes, Connor O'Toole, I think that is, who will Look to try an in-swinging delivery into a dangerous position. It's decent, and good header away. Beatty's under pressure, edge of the box. Ruiz Diaz. Now Demi. It's Clark. Couldn't sneak the ball through. Wollongong stand firm for now. Clark again. Now O'Toole. Back to Clark. And he crosses well. Headed away and throw in right by the corner flag. So he saw a Wolves long throw early on. Do Olympic have anyone with, how can I put this? Anyone with Megan Campbell aspirations? Seriously, you should. If you haven't seen a Megan Campbell long throw, you should. That's what you should look up at halftime. You'll love it. Zoricic, and looking to find Demi. Well, he has. And Demi looking for a teammate. That's great defending. And I think it's Busnell that was who was strong and ended up winning the free kick. Actually, it might have been Geisen. Whoever it was. It's fantastic work to not just prevent the cross, but also to win the free kick and relieve the pressure. We are going to see, and Daniel Kornowski is about to signal. Well, I say he's about to signal the time added on. Well, I hope there's a subs board here. I do know early season teething issues. There were some venues in the first 2 rounds that didn't have the subs board. But anyway, I suppose we'll find out in about 45 seconds. But Leai has space. Wraparound run from Scott, but Leai wants to cut inside. And then it's played it too heavy for Hernandez. Still no sign of a board. Well. Okay, now, my guess, I am a long way away from Daniel Kornowski. There's no board, so he's signaling how much time added onto the 2 benches. I can't see at the best of times. So 2 minutes of time added on? It'll be a massive upset if from this far away I, of all people, have seen that correctly. Anyway, I've started my stopwatch. Michael Hatton, who's taken over the Olympic armband after that unfortunate injury to Adam Parkhouse. At Gordon center circle. There's enough time for one more chance. Will anyone create it? It's direct to Demi. A second ball almost picked up by Armson before Busnell smashes it into opposition territory. Gordon with a clever header towards Zoricic, but the pressure's still on here. Wollongong now starting to press high. Michael Hatton has turned out of trouble, but also almost gave it away. Gordon. Both Kanazumi and Demi tumble after all that. Kanazumi, it was who's pinged for the foul, and also there's a slice of cheese here. So Eric Saba didn't like that from Kanazumi, and he is the first player into the notebook in the 45th plus 2 minute. That's been another fascinating battle there, because it does look like Kanazumi most of the time has picked up marking duties on Cyrus Demi. And Demi has won that particular duel. So everyone back for Wollongong, as you'd expect, so close to half-time. There's the delivery, and, well, it's contact from Ruiz Diaz deemed illegal. Looks like Wollongong are in no rush. And that can't be kept in play. And that's that. It's goalless after 45 minutes as the teams head to the dressing sheds. 0-0 between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong Wolves. For Olympic, it was Jack Armstrong who had their best chance early on. His left foot volley drawing a fine save from Oliver Yates, the Wollongong shot stopper. Well, for Wollongong, they forced plenty of corners, but nothing as yet to show from all those attacking set pieces. This is Eric Subihano with the commentary for the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Thanks for joining us. We'll take a short break, about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be back for the second half. Welcome back to the second half of our coverage from Belmore Sports Ground. It's 0-0 between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong Wolves in round 3 of NPL Men's New South Wales. Very evenly matched contest. I'm looking forward to what the second half will give us. And although at this early stage, I mean, there's still 27 rounds to go after this one, but you never know. We've seen things like finals places, like premierships, decided in the past by a handful of points or even goal difference. So really, especially in a competition as historically tight as NPL Men's New South Wales, every game and every half really does count. Jack Gibson is doing one last warm-up. He's actually a goalkeeping coach on the field still. So in fact, there's also an issue with the net, which one of the assistants has spotted. I believe that'd be Lachlan Hines, who's been sharp with the checks. So we will have a slight delay before the second half gets underway. I think I'll use this. By the way, I'm pretty sure, although those of you who have listened to a lot of my commentary know that I'm allergic to halftime sugs. I never seem to get them right, but I think both teams are as they were at the end of the first half. So it looks like the net has been fixed. Just briefly, I might shout out the games coming up in the Football New South Wales YouTube page. So on Saturday, the 1st of March, for the first time, we are going to PointsBet Stadium. You may know it as Shark Park, for Sutherland Sharks versus Sydney Olympic, with Alexander Molchanov on the call. That's next weekend's match of the round. But for now, we're underway in this second half. Might remind you of the two lineups that are out there. The appropriate break and play, as Ruiz Diaz, the flag is up. So, went out. So for Sydney Olympic, in goal, Jack Gibson. 4 at the back, from left to right, that's number 3, Connor O'Toole. Number 28, Donny Gerdic. Number 5, Ziggy Gordon. And number 12, Zach Zodicic. Kind of 2 deeper midfielders. Number 18, Teng Kuol. Number 8, Sam McElhatton. Kind of a band of 3 attacking midfielders, which would be number 22, Dylan Ruiz-Diaz on the left. Number 14, Seth Clark on the right. And centrally, number 10, Jack Armson. Up front for Olympic, number 9, Cyrus Demi. Gordon playing it forward to Clark. That's back to Zodicic. Interesting. Of course, as the sun gets lower in the sky, that shadow is going to get larger and larger. Always wonder if there's any players that will try and adapt their attacking movement to fit the shady side of the field. That's what I do, but then again, I'm not very fit, so I suppose that doesn't mean anything. Work back by the Wolves to Yates, and now it's Kanaizumi. Long to Scott, who gets the header. He might chase his own flick on here. Instead, it's Kuol who wins it. Sim. Now to Beattie. That's Sim again. And Guyson moving it back to Busnell, and then nice pass around the corner from Scott to Beattie. Guyson. Wolves doing what they did for large parts of the opening period, keeping the possession, keeping the ball away from their hosts. Now Sim again, and Demi too physical with the contact. So for Wolves, the lineup out there, we think they're roughly in the same shape as Olympic. So in goal for them, number 1, Oliver Yates. 4 at the back, so from left to right, number 4, Dylan Ryan. Number 5, Banri Kanaizumi on the ball right now. Number 2, Harrison Busnell, and number 17, Marcus Beattie. 2 deeper lying midfielders, number 7, Woon Sub Sim, and number 29, Ben Guyson on the left. Well, actually, on the flanks, because these two keep switching. It's number 11, Sebastian Hernandez, and number 77, Rafael Leai. Central attacking midfielder looks to be number 21, Nick Olsen. And up front, number 24, Lachlan Scott, the captain. Ruiz Diaz from range, straight at Yates. So going back to what I teased right before the start of the second half, next weekend's match of the round at a venue, well, Sutherland Sharks will call it home for, I believe, the first time, Shark Park. Shark, of course, being the traditional nickname for any club from the Cronulla or Sutherland region. Sydney Olympic, football fans with long memories would remember they did once call that venue home, I do believe. and recall for a brief period were known as the Olympic Sharks. That's a nice ball, and Hernandez drives it wide, had Gibson at full stretch. The shot is off target. Scott, nice creative work there to pick out Hernandez's run. The shot wasn't too far away. But yes, actually one of the Football New South Wales media team, it's League One men's reporter Justin Smith, the man who's so much better than his predecessor, but that's another story. Anyway, Justin Smith has been a ball boy for both Sutherland and Sydney Olympic at points, as we see a Qantas plane taking off in the distance. Clark with the quick feet to keep away from the challenge. So yes, that'll be a little historical note when Sutherland and Olympic play next weekend, Saturday the 1st of March. At 4 p.m. kickoff there at Shark Park. Great, I'm going to use that as an opportunity to tick off a new venue. If you're staying at home, you'll enjoy the dulcet tones of the pretty Russian Alexander Molchanov, who will be calling next weekend's match of the round. And I'm looking forward to more Brett Nielsen photography from that game as well. Now, they're backing off McElhatton, but Beattie gets the block in. Well timed, as he was just inside his own penalty area. And McElhatton, it's a nice ball. That's out to Zoricic. Zoricic is tracked by Leai. Little shimmy, and then he shoots, but it's over. And smacks into the big wall behind the goal. Of course, actually, just looking at my notes, it's very much a Super Saturday next weekend in the NPL Men's New South Wales competition. 6 games will be played on Saturday the 1st of March. The earliest I've already spoken about at length, 4 p.m. Sutherland versus Olympic. It's the latest of the kickoffs is at 7 p.m. That's so much action for you to dig your teeth into. As Kuol plays it up. And everyone's just going to let it bounce before they challenge for it aerially now. And Beattie looking over the shoulder wants to shepherd it, and Armson did not keep it in. Well, good work there from Beattie. And I might drip feed you these games coming up next Saturday. This is going to be a great game on the NPL men's in the NPL men's New South Wales competition, as Scott's won the free kick. Contact in the back there. But on Saturday, 2 kickoffs at 5 p.m. Firstly, at Popondetta Park. We're back to this iconic Popondetta Park duo. It's Nicholas Kutniak with the commentary and Justin Davies with the report for Mount Druitt Town Rangers versus Rockdale Illington. 5 p.m. Saturday there in Emerton. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Hernandez, good run inside now. Scott spreads it left, and the shot is not too far away. I think that was Dylan Ryan overlapping from left back. Good contact on it. Once again, Gibson diving, and once again, the shot is off target. The other 5 p.m. kickoff on Saturday is the boys from Medenza Park are hosting Western Sydney Wanderers, and well, if it's a game at Medenza Park, you know Dominic Criniti, I think it's a contractual obligation that he's got to be there, and my understanding, looking at the roster, he's got the double. He's doing both the commentary, and then he's got to quickly write up a match report afterwards. But he's a very talented media operator, a clean-cut looking Dominic Criniti. And why do I call him clean-cut Dominic Criniti? That's actually because in a UFC press conference, Sean Strickland once called him a clean-cut looking person, but he phrased it slightly differently. If you can find Dominic on Twitter, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Anyway. Now, as Ryan didn't like his forward options, and Guyson has dropped kind of deeper to provide passing options, and it's back with Yates before he plays it forward. Scott brings it down. Now Ryan again. There's no pressure on Yates, although Demi now starts to press. Yates played it forward. It's over Leai, and then Scott, yes, he used his body well. That's a nice tackle from Zoricic. He had a second lunge at it, but Scott has won it, and he's beaten a second player. Now Lachlan Scott, and almost played the killer pass for Olsen. Olsen, well, he's found Beattie. Anyway, Beattie's well forward, and Olsen looks to return the favour. Clark, we've seen a lot of him in the attacking sense, but that's some nice defending, nice reading of the play from Seth Clark. By the way, 5:30 p.m. Saturday from the Arctic Circle. Wait, I'm not calling a game at the Arctic Circle? What's happening? Anyway, it's Northwest City Spirit versus St George City from Macquarie Park. And, well, at least it's a fan of an Irish national team calling that game, because it'll be Dublin David Feeney. Enjoyed hearing his dulcet tones last night when he called Manly United versus when they hosted the boys from Odense Park up at Cromer. But, yes, David Feeney in the Arctic Circle to call Spirit versus St George City. Now, I think that's Raphael Leai, who's going to need some treatment, so there's going to be a pause in play as I can hear another plane flying overhead. Some players taking the opportunity for a drink and possibly some instructions from the coaching staff. Anyway, also, it's back to next weekend's action, 6 p.m. on Saturday, the 1st of March. It's down at Wynn Stadium, where the voice of Central Coast football, Pete Pryor, is going to be the voice of Central Coast football in a different way, because he'll be calling Central Coast Mariners as the away side. They make the long trip down to the South Coast to face Wollongong Wolves. And Tim Gibson will have the match report there. Well, at 7 p.m. on Saturday from the Palace, Marconi Stadium, Marconi Stallions versus St George FC. Oh, look, Madeline Riley's covering a Marconi game. Who would have thought? Nice back heel in. Beattie lays it off. Olsen faked the shot, I think. Olsen decides to find a teammate. It's Hernandez. Leai is back on the field, so Wollongong weren't short-handed for very long at all. Quick 1-2. That's nice work from Hernandez and Beattie. Now Hernandez, and it's cleared out for a throw-in. By the way, to complete next weekend's action, because there's 6 games on Saturday, and there's 2 games on Sunday, the 2nd of March, in the NPL Men's New South Wales competition at 3 p.m. from the venue that I would prefer was called Gabby Stadium in Seven Hills. It's Blacktown versus Apia Leichhardt, with the Serbian Martin Tyler, Nikola Pozda doing commentary, and Katrina May. Apparently by getting rave reviews for her riding, but she's got the match report for Blacktown Apia. Damien Briggs with photography there. And then 4 p.m. on Sunday, the 2nd of March, it's kind of a Northern Beaches derby. Sydney FC Academy versus Manly United from the Ellington Sports Centre. Tap as Olsen up. It's going to be affected by the wind, this delivery, and Gordon heads it up. He'll have a second go at it. Heads it out of the box. Olsen again. Forced backwards. So now, Sim. Olsen is willing to try the quick passes. Both teams have been very disciplined in defence. It's been quite impressive. As a fully paid up member of the Defenders Union, I've liked seeing this defensive structure. Sim playing it forward, and that's just going to be overhit. But anyway, oh yes, by the way, that 4 p.m. game Sunday, 2nd of March, Sydney FC Academy versus Manly United from the Ellington Sports Centre, home of some great Chavapi rolls, and make sure you ask for Ivar when you go to the canteen there. But anyway, Sydney FC versus Manly, called by Teo Pellizzeri. But also great news, because next weekend, Beattie gets his head to that. And now is Hernandez for Guyson up against 2. That's nice work from Guyson. Tried to find Hernandez, but it's Olympic with the ball now. And please, next weekend, it's the start of one of my favourite competitions in the entire world, the Football New South Wales League One Women's Competition. We're doing weekly streams from the women's second tier as well. And our first stream of League One Women's for 2025, it's a great one. Sunday, 2nd of March, 4:30 p.m. from Barton Park, St George FC versus Bankstown City, 2 teams that made last year's League One Women's semi-finals. And the Duckman, Matthew Austin, will be on the commentary there. By the way, I think Nicholas Kutniak was at Barton Park last night as Sim plays it across to Beattie. And God, the canteen's pretty decent. Some good servings of food there. So I'm looking forward to whenever I get to visit Barton Park for the first time. The ball holds up well for Hernandez. Now it's Guyson. Leai's the option for the switch, so that is where it goes. And Leai up against Zoricic, and now Ruiz Diaz as the second defender. So he goes back to Ryan. And Scott, has he played it back to Ryan? No, good defending from Zoricic. In the distance I can see the floodlights. They've just been turned on, but not all stadiums can be like Combank Stadium. So that will take some time to warm up, but the floodlights will be in full flow once for the 20s game, which kicks off at 7 p.m. directly after this one. We are going to see Wollongong's first sub, I think. So number 25, Alex Mashavecchio, is ready to enter play. And who will it be? Because the players that came to the touchline, they're just getting drinks. I wonder if this is going to be for Hernandez, who's receiving some treatment. We'll wait for confirmation of that. It's a great competition. League One Women's, as I keep talking about it with this break and play. During this break and play, St George FC 2023 champions also made the 2024 grand final but lost to Mount Druitt Town Rangers, who have now been promoted to the women's top tier. They're in NPL women's for the first time. St George FC expected to contend. So are Bankstown City. And a shout out to my local team, Hills United, who've been excellent ever since they've come into the League One women's competition. And they don't have their legendary goalkeeper Sarah Easthope anymore because she's concentrating on women's futsal national team duties. And by the way, congratulations to the team I like to call the Futsal Matildas. They're off to China in May for the Women's Futsal Asian Cup. But Hills don't have Sarah Easthope anymore, but I've heard of some big signings. I suppose you'll see that on the Football New South Wales League socials when as the Football New South Wales media prepare for the start of that season. And so maybe you wonder, is this the year that the women of the Hills get promoted or win a grand final? Or both? Beattie plays it off Ruiz Diaz. Yes, that confirmation, it is Alex Masciavecchio, who is looks to be the direct replacement. He'll play out wide for the Wolves in the remaining half an hour or so in place of Sebastian Hernandez. So it's one sub each now, and I think perhaps picking up a knock, a factor in both of the subs that the teams have made. It definitely was a factor in, unfortunately, in Adam Parkhouse's early withdrawal. A free kick there won by Marcus Beattie, with Dylan Ruiz-Diaz coming on in Parkhouse's place. But Olympic and Labano Halidi, they've still the unused subs. Monty Partington's the backup keeper. The other players we could see later, Bailey Callahan, Joshua Hong, Gianni DiPizio and Jackson Fowler. While there's only 4 unused subs left now for Wollongong. Backup keeper being Daniel Solsky. Warren Grieve could also bring on James Anianostopoulos, Damon Gray, or Dax Kelly. Masciavecchio has the overlapping run, but cuts inside instead. Now to Leai inside the box. And Leai's not much room, but he does sneak it almost all the way through. There's good judgment in the end. Well, actually, Eric Saba has ruled that there's a touch, so it will be a corner kick. The corner kick for the Wolves, and Leai, well, that's a nightmare ball for a defence to deal with. He drilled it lower into a crowded 6-yard box. It could have gone anywhere, could have taken a touch, could have gone off a teammate, could have been an own goal. Instead, it is a corner kick, which Olsen takes to the near post and away, another corner. Now Eric Saba, yes, that's the KPI for this match met. The referee holding up a corner to warn about shenanigans in the 6-yard box, of course. Now Olsen delivers to the far post, and the header in the end is off Wolves and out for a goal kick. No, great delivery from Olsen. Found a teammate, the header goes over the bar. Now, the Olympic free kick. And, well, it's going to be Armson taking it from the center circle. So what does he do? He's got to put the finesse on it and curls it towards Ruiz Diaz. Can't shake off Beattie, but he does get a decent cross in, headed away. Now it's a real battle here. Pretty compact here in the center of the park. And Gordon swung at it, but it was taken off his feet. Gordon challenges again. Now Scott can control and turn, but Zoricic, he saw the danger. Scott was trying to play a through ball. Zoricic got in his face, and Scott's won the free kick, but the Olympic weren't set, so conceding a free kick in that part of the field, not the worst outcome for the hosts. And switch, it's off Olympic, and it's a throw-in right by the corner flag. Ball's defended well by Demi Busnell. Strong work there. It will be an Olympic throw. The commentator chat is absolutely kicking off here. Apparently they found out. I've suggested that the Mount Druitt media box is called the Nicholas Kutniak media box. There's suggestions of a plaque commemorating Nicholas Kutniak's work, and Dominic Cranidia said, well, if Nicholas Kutniak gets a plaque, he wants a statue at Adensa Park. And then Dominic's also suggested, if all of this happens, then Spirit's home ground should be named after me. I'm in favour of all of this, by the way. Because, you know, Eric Subihano Stadium has a great ring to it. That's what, if I do say so myself. Now, Demi, 1-on-1, but he might have turned his defender. And Demi, great stop here and cleared off the line by Busnell. Again, that's that Oliver Yates positioning is spot on. His Demi did brilliantly. He's had trouble getting away from Kanaizumi all day, but he did so. And Yates with the reflexes and the positioning to keep him out. It's a nullifying save, and now it's Armson. Clipped up, and Ruiz Diaz with the spectacular looking volley, but it is off target. The Olympic chant starts again. Decision goes Olympics' way. As I said, the 20s game, the under-20s game between Olympic and Wollongong is after this one. I think I can see some of the Wollongong under-20s players on the field now for the early parts of their warm-up. And that's a nice back heel from O'Toole, but Ruiz Diaz has it taken off him and then cleared to safety. McElhatton. And go back to the central defenders, so here's Gordon. There's an interesting ball over the top here. And now, good cutback. Here's Clark. Seth Clark dodges a challenge and shoots. Angle was tight-ish. It's gone across the face of goal. Now, Geisen off the goal kick has won a free kick. And I think he'll look to get on with it quickly, which he does. In that ever-lengthening shadow, here's Marcus Beattie. And Mashaveka, well, Connor O'Toole spotted that. And then it's foul against Demi. Yates restarts, and O'Toole with the header. Now, well, there's appeals from both sides and fans in the crowd as well. So, about 20 minutes left in regulation time. Still plenty that can happen here. Leai has the runner. That's Mashaveka. Has he found him? And Eric Saba with the universal signal for no foul. It's always going to be tough with Mashaveka trying to make the run to pierce the space between two defenders, but the two defenders won out. Now, as Girdich plays the back pass, and then Gibson plays it away. There's another shout, and it'll be another Wolves free kick. So it's Clark once again, who's done some good work in his own half to gain possession. Now, it's almost a loose pass, but Olympic do keep hold of it. Armson, a little bit deeper now. Clark. And Geisen, he's been great in the centre of the park for Wollongong, but Olympic have found a way through, and there's runners. It's deflected behind for a corner kick. It just looked like for a moment it was going to open up. And enough defenders coming back in time for Wollongong. Now, it's not held by Yates, but he's done enough. And Wolves, they can't build out, so Armson, bit of room here. Now, good first touch from Ruiz Diaz, but then it was Wunsub Sim. And the clearance which turned into a great pass, and that short ball. I could see that, even I, with my terrible eyesight, could see that from here. And, well, I think Saba was about to book someone. Eric Saba was about to book someone, but Wolves, he decided then to let the advantage go because Wolves wanted to get on with it before Olympica set. Mashaveka runs into Gordon. That's gone. I wonder if we'll bring that back. Well, we do want, because that was a very, shall I say, yellow card whistle. I felt like a card was about to be shown. It could still be shown, of course. But for the moment, it's Wolves probing once again. 74th minute here at Belmore Sports Ground. Eric Subihano with the commentary from the lovely grandstand here. 0-0 between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong Wolves. Hope you're enjoying this game. Hope you stick around for the 7 p.m. game, the match of the round between Rockdale and Marconi at Illingdon Sports Centre, called by the Russian Simon Hill, Alexander Molchanov, or even the 7:15 p.m. kickoff at Penshurst Park between St George City and Sydney FC. Foul by O'Toole. Now, Eric Saba is going to hold things. Oh, it won't be a card. Well, I don't think there's going to be a card, so yet again I proved to be wrong, but we will have an Olympic substitution. I see the number 16, which will be Bailey Callahan. He's coming on, and I think he'll replace Cyrus Demi. Now, it's one of the Cyrus Demi has done kind of the more unsung work required of centre forwards. One good chance, which went wide. A lot of tough work. He's up against a very high-quality central defensive partnership. Cyrus Demi, and it was a good shift. No goal to show for it, at least not this week. He's replaced by Bailey Callahan. So Olympic, they have, well, actually, they've used two of their sub windows, because they one in the first half of Parkhouse and that one. So they've only got, can make as many as 3 subs, but they only have 1 window left in which to do so. Wollongong, as well, hold that thought, but Yates, good command of the penalty area, takes it right at the edge of the box. Wollongong, they've made 1 sub, so they could actually make as many as 4 subs in the remaining 2 windows that they have. And of course, because they only had 5 on the bench, if they were to do that, one of those would be bringing on the backup keeper. So it's not too likely. Clark tries right-footed and had Gibson diving, but in the end, you'd have to say I think Jack Gibson had it covered. It does go wide, and yes, so Wollongong, by the way, they are going to make a second substitution. Damon Gray is going to enter the field. I think he's going to replace, is that Leai? Anyway, high fives, and it is Rafael Leai who leaves the field, so Damon Gray can come on. Now, too physical from Olsen there. Gordon wants to get on with it. Most of this Belmore Sports ground, field, and shadow, as they're now back in the chessboard. That's a crunching tackle from Sim. Armson's not happy. Eric Saba's got to step in. He's wound sub Sim, despite his protestations. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty clear yellow card for the Wolves, number 7. Number 7 getting booked by my watch in the 77th minute. But stick around. Keep an eye on the NPL the NPL New South Wales Facebook page, because our fearless leader, the Golden Greek, Mark Stavroulakis, we are hard at work to upload all the match reports from today. They'll be up later tonight. And it's Dimitri as the shot comes in, and the sting was taken out of it there by Guyson. But it's Dimitri Valos, I believe his name is. Young man introduced himself to me today. And Yates is up, and Yates, well, in the end, it's a header from Kanaizumi, and the decision has gone Wollongong's way. The Callahan's bemusement, shall we say. But, yes, Dimitri Valos, he just introduced himself, had some questions beforehand. The young, enterprising young man. It's good when the newer riders introduce themselves to the commentators. We are a media team, so we should act as such. Here's O'Toole, and the velocity on the ball died off, made it easy to defend. And here's Gray, but some early touches after coming off the bench, but he'll want to be kind of a more of attacking position, because there's 3 points up for grabs here. Definitely plenty of players good enough on their day to be the decisive player in any game in this competition. Here's Beattie. Worked on that Kanaizumi. It's almost the furthest forward he's been in free play. Out left to Ryan. Little fake, but then Zorich here. Oh no, he hasn't defended it. So Ryan will clip it in towards Scott. Enough of a header from Gordon at least to slow them down. Here's Olsen. And Olsen crosses right-footed. Handball shout by the visiting faithful. Immediately, Eric Saba pointing that it's hit him on the chest or shoulder area. And I think he's had a great game, Eric Saba, so that means, well, there's one Eric S. at this venue today making good decisions. Only one, though. Wolves, again, looking to turn the screw. Meanwhile, I mean, they probably don't want me. They as in, well, anyone who listens to this stream or anyone who listens to these streams, all the stakeholders, probably don't want me looking at my phone, but I'll never stop doing it. If my mother can't get me to do it, neither can you. And so, League One men's reporter Justin Smith, he's currently at Lambert Park for, yes, MacArthur Rams versus SD Raiders. Actually, Connor O'Toole, it's an interesting run, and drives into the box before it's cleared. And yes, Justin Smith, he did say, well, MacArthur Rams, there's work with Linwood Park, their normal home ground, which still isn't completed, so they've had to hire Lambert Park. Well, as Justin Smith said, well, at least they wear maroon, so that part fits, but also he said he's seen a couple of red cards already, a couple of two-footed lunges, an excellent goal mouth scramble, so he's had a great day. Look forward to catching up with Justin later at Arlington Oval. So he's going to make the short trip on the light rail for Dulwich Hill versus the Spartans. I will join him. Arlington Oval, such a historic venue. It's a venue for the 1938 Commonwealth Games, if you can believe that. That's how long it's been around. Anyway, enough other venue chat. Back to this game. Into the final 10 minutes here. Game's still waiting. Spectators still poised to see who will make the breakthrough. And they'll let that bounce, but it was well read by Beattie, as he knew that there wasn't a dangerous run coming into the far post. It will be a goal kick, and now there'll be another stoppage. Banri Kanazumi not feeling the most comfortable, so perhaps will the Wollongong physio have to come on again? But no physio needing to come on. Kanazumi, who's been such an important player ever since he joined Wollongong Wolves. Would be a shame at this late stage if he had to leave the field. As near this throw-in that Marcus Beattie's about to take, you see Sydney Olympic backup keeper Monty Partington warming up, which does suggest that he will be the starting keeper for the Olympic 20s, under 20s in the game that kicks off at 7 p.m. Now, Mashavecchio was quick enough, and then Gordon, there's the foul there, followed by the card. Card for Ziggy Gordon in the 83rd minute. Now, I think it's Dylan Ryan. It's very central, so it doesn't really favour a right footer or left footer this one. But it's Ryan. He set the ball down with intent. There's Eric Saba, both Eric Saba and Jack Gibson being very particular about the placement of this wall. Now, is it going to be Ryan or Olsen? Ryan sets it down again. Everyone back for Olympic. It is Ryan. It's dipping, but it's dipping straight into Gibson's gloves. I'm just thinking. The thought has occurred to me. If Jack Gibson, if he takes up coaching, is his nickname immediately Super Coach? Anyway. Get it. Back to Super Coach. Jack Gibson. And header from Busnell. Now, Olympic trying to move from left to right. Ah, yes. Something my friends are all too aware of. Well, it wasn't a halftime sub. I missed a sub anyway. But anyway, Gianni DiPizio's on the field now. I might figure out who he replaced. I might not. There's not much time left in the game. Gerdic to Clark. Now, Clark whips it in from a deeper position, and a handball shout that, let's be honest, is as optimistic as the last time I asked someone out on a date. Eric Salma didn't even bother making the universal signal for nothing happening. Clipped in by McElhatton. Ryan with a nice header, but Ruiz Diaz keeps it alive, and then last touch off Olympic, so goal kick. Anyway, Gianni DiPizio's come on for 10 cool at some point in the second half. Dinked in, and two straight for Clark's run. So Yates, he's been excellent today. He's almost kept a clean sheet. No. Only really one, shall we say, highlight save, if that makes sense. One spectacular save, but he's done a lot of the basic stuff, the simple stuff. Very well, Oliver Yates, good command of his area as the quick feed from McElhatton leads to a free kick. Olympic, well, time starting to run down as another plane flies overhead. It's Gordon. He's got to be careful for the remainder of the game. He's on a yellow card. Now Zoricic. And body strength there, but it goes back to Gordon. And Gordon again. He's getting a lot of touches with the Olympic, who want the ball to start progressing further forward if they are to find a winner, and then that's the loose pass. It's run out of play. So forward done here at Belmore Sports Grounds. That's a final plug for the games coming up later this weekend, so we hope you stick around for the 7 p.m. game, the match of the round between Rockdale and Marconi, called by pretty boy Alexander Molchanov. And also there's at 7:15 p.m. from Penshurst Park, St George City versus Sydney FC. 2 men's games tomorrow at 4:45 p.m. It's RPL Leichhardt versus Northwest Sydney Spirit from Lambert Park, called by Teo Pellizzeri. And then at 5 p.m. tomorrow, Central Coast Mariners versus Blacktown City, called by Pete Pryor. Of course it is. Who else? Me calling a game at Poon Park last week, that's enough unusual allocations for one season, I think. That's thrown back to Gordon. Also quickly, because of course we've got round 4 next weekend. I mean, it'll be the halfway mark of the season before we know it, and we'll all be wearing puffer jackets. As Gerdic stands it up, and now Callahan shoots from range, blocked by Sim, but it's Armson who cannot keep it alive, and now Ryan's got a bit of room, 4 players in front of him. So he uses the left boot, but it's the header from Gerdic, which only finds Scott, and now Scott, I think that was a look-away pass, he finds Olsen, and Olsen is defended well. Olsen can't trick his way past the defense, and then the second defender, McElhatton's the one who intercepts. But yes, there is. I'm happy that there's enough games to call this a Super Saturday. So next weekend's Saturday, 1st of March, 6 games spread out throughout the day. The match of the round is at 4 p.m. Sutherland versus Olympic from Shark Park, called by pretty boy Alexander Molchanov. 5 p.m. on Saturday, 2 games. Mount Druitt versus Rockdale, called by the People's Champion Nicholas Kutniak. And the boys from Medenza Park are also playing at 5 p.m. They host Western Sydney Wanderers with Dominic Criniti on the mic. At 5:30 p.m. from the Arctic Circle, I'm not calling this game, but it'll instead be Dublin Dave Feeney from the Arctic Circle. Spirit versus St George City, as there's a booming clearance, and that's the first time I've seen someone clear the ball into the roof of the grandstand here at Belmore Sports Ground. Well done to you, Harrison Busnell. But also 6 p.m. on Saturday from Wynn Stadium, Wollongong versus Central Coast Mariners, called by Pete Pryor. And at 7 p.m. from the Palace, Marconi Stallions versus St George FC. Sunday the 2nd of March, as Gordon looks to pick out Zordicic, and it's defended by Ryan. Sunday 2nd of March, 3 p.m. from Gabby Stadium, Blacktown versus Apia, called by Nicola Posder. And 4 p.m. Sunday 2nd of March, Sydney FC versus Manly United, called by Teo Pellizzeri. It's always for people interested in multiple facets of the club. Possibly a bit of an annoying one for people who are both fans of the Sydney FC Academy and the Sydney FC women's team, because there's a bit of an overlap. You've got the men's academy playing at 4 p.m, or the men's academy first grade team at least playing at 4 p.m, while the Sydney women's team are playing at 5 p.m. at Leichhardt Oval, so that's an unfortunate fixture clash. I'm interested in that Sydney Manly game, but alas, I shall be doing Sydney FC Women's Ground announcing at Leichhardt Oval for that A-League women's game between Sydney and Brisbane, because, I mean, paying me to be at a game with Tori Tumeth, never saying no to that. Now, the home fans aren't happy. Well, they'll be even unhappier as Wollongong play on. It's moved across to Olsen, but he waited for it. Well, instead it's gone to Scott, and now Damon Gray, who'll get into the box. Gray, on the left foot, shoots, and it takes a couple of deflections before Zoricic clears. We're into stoppage time now. I've missed the signal, so at least for me, I missed the signal from Daniel Kornovsky, so at least for me, it's the pre-1998 Men's World Cup experience. I don't know how much time added on there will be. All I know is that Labano Halidi is upset about something. Sim. Now Ryan actually was on the mic for the corresponding game, this corresponding fixture between these two teams last season. There were late goals in that one. Will we see late goals now, when however much stoppage time is remaining? Clark to McElhatton. Now Armson keeps it away from BT, and the switch rule has only found Ryan there. But Zoricic did his best to charge it down, and then there's the signal on the far side. That will be a very late free kick. Hayden Kay with the flag up there. Happened right in front of him, and now is this what Olympic need? Armson flat towards O'Toole, but it's played away. And as Wollongong step up, can Olympic get something from the second phase? Is DePizio, good ball, and the keeper's out. Can he slide it across the box? And the hero there, I think that's Harrison Busnell, who prevented a tap-in for Bailey Callahan. Oliver Yates has taken a heavy collision, so whatever stoppage time we were going to have, it's going to be more now. But Yates, off his line in a flash, I think it was against Zoricic, to put him off the ball across the face of goal. Busnell did exactly what you're supposed to do when the keeper goes off his line. He was there to provide cover and played it off a teammate and out for a corner kick. Well, of course, you can't continue without a keeper, so it's actually going to be a fair bit of stoppage time now. It's almost 7 p.m, so you're going to have a slight delay to the under-20s game between Olympic and Wollongong. He's back up. Yates, he's been excellent today. He'll want to finish the job. Next task, this corner. There's as much traffic in the 6-yard box as there is on my morning commute. Anyway, in-swinger, and good header from Ryan at the near post. There's been a lot of I think from my memory, there's been a lot of near post corners from both sides in this game. But the defenses have been strong. So anyway, we've almost had 4 minutes of time added on. Ruiz Diaz. In swinger, and at the back post, it's... no. Bad ball's in, but it's not going to count. Wollongong have a free kick. It's a tumble at the back post. And Olympic, they thought for a moment they'd done it to Wollongong again in stoppage time at Belmore Sports Ground, but they have not. Yates goes long. Gray's up there. Gets the flick on. And Scott goes in late on Zoricic. It's Jack Gibson's turn to go long. Up there. Good win from Kanaizumi. Ruiz Diaz trying to pick up the scraps. That's going to be easy for Yates. And that is that. So we finish as we started, 0-0 between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong Wolves. Wollongong Wolves stay undefeated at this early stage of the season. For Olympic, well, it's a better result after the disappointment on this ground. Their disappointment of last weekend's loss to Western Sydney Wanderers. I thought both keepers were excellent. Jack Gibson for Olympic, and especially Oliver Yates for Wollongong. Plenty of attacking talent out there, but none of them could make the decisive breakthrough. We hope you stick around on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Once again, one last time at 7 p.m. or about now, starting about now from Millenden Sports Centre. It's Rockdale versus Marconi, called by Alexander Molchanov, and then at 7:15 p.m. it's St George City versus Sydney FC as well. So you've got plenty of options. I hope you stick around and watch another one of our streams. But on behalf of Tin, our camera operator, our broadcast partner, Sportscast and Football New South Wales, this is Eric Subihano signing off from Belmore. We hope you've enjoyed our collection of wrestlers. We hope it brought you good vibes. If you feel sad, get a coffee. If you feel very sad, get a tattoo. I'm off to watch Dulwich Hill versus Spartans at Arlington Oval. And may your keepers keep clean sheets just like these two keepers did today. It's what Sarah Eastoke would do. See you next time.